Hello everyone, hope you are good and be happy always. Once again, welcome to Shachi's Academy, and today we will discuss the degrees for price elasticity of demand for BBA, MBA, BCom, MCom, UGC NET JRF people, so that they can understand all the concepts in detail in clear perspective, and they can use these concepts in their real life business and real life. See, all these concepts are being used in our real life also, but the thing is we are not aware of the principle of action behind them. So we will understand them in detail today and see what are the different types of or the degrees of price elasticity of demand, which we have already discussed the elasticity of demand in our first part of this video, and this is the second part of the video for elasticity of demand. Please watch, it's my request, the first part of this video, then only you will be able to understand this also in detail. So let's start with the topic, that is degrees for price elasticity of demand. We have perfectly elastic price elasticity of demand, then we have perfectly inelastic demand, then we have elastic or highly elastic demand, that is price elasticity, then we have unitary price elastic, then we have your highly inelastic demand. So these are the two extremes. Perfectly elastic and perfectly inelastic are the two extremes. They are not normally found in your real life, but they are studied in your books and they are studied in theory. However, nearly perfectly elastic and nearly perfectly inelastic are found. So what is perfectly elastic and perfectly inelastic? We have already discussed what is elastic and inelastic. See, the demands which we can change easily or which we are flexible about. For example, the luxuries of our life, we can easily live without them. So if their prices rise, we easily give them up. We don't purchase them anymore. But the essentials, they are to be purchased at every cost. So the things which are luxuries, maybe vintage cars, foreign trips, yachts, islands, or antique items, they are luxuries of life and we can easily live without them. So they are flexible items, and the elasticity which tells us that they can be easily shifted or their consumption can be easily postponed. When their prices rise, we can easily decrease their consumption, and when their price decreases, we can easily increase their consumption. That means it depends on the price. They are price sensitive. It is easy to shift their demand. It is easy to postpone their demand. That means they are flexible, they are elastic. Okay, that means they are highly elastic. But there are certain things in our life which we use in our day-to-day life. They may be habit forming, just like here we can say they may be habit forming, they may be addictions, they may be essentials like salt, sugar, medicines, doctors, lawyers, etc. And their demand cannot be changed irrespective of change in price. Say for example, if the price of salt increases, then also we will consume the same amount of salt. But if on the other hand, if its price decreases, we will also consume the same amount only. That means it is not price sensitive, it's not flexible at all. So the demand that is not flexible to changes in price, or it is not responsive to changes in price, is known as what? Inelastic. We have explained this thing in our previous video. So let's continue this topic once again and discuss the degrees of price elasticity. Number one is perfectly elastic. Perfectly elastic is the demand price elasticity where a very small change, minor change, minuscule change in price will lead to tremendous change in your quantity demanded. Take for example your diamonds, gold jewelry, and for your kind information, there's nothing like that perfectly elastic demand. Okay, perfectly elastic demand and perfectly inelastic demand are only found in your theory books, and they are not easily found in your real life. Okay, so they are to be studied for reference purposes. Otherwise, only these three types of price elasticities are found in your real life. So what is the definition for this perfectly elastic? So here is the definition: when there is very minor change, very small change in your price, demand increases to infinity. Take for example, if your price decreases by a very small amount, maybe by a fraction of a percent, then your demand will become infinity. It will increase to infinity. Or when there is very small rise in price, your demand will become zero. Does it happen in real life? No. So here what happens, your demand curve for your perfectly elastic demand is this parallel to horizontal axis. It is horizontal curve. It is parallel to your horizontal or x-axis. This is your demand curve, which is perfectly elastic demand. Okay, this portrays your perfectly elastic demand. That means at a very small increase in price, your demand becomes infinity. That means here the symbol for your elasticity of demand, that is perfectly elastic, is equal to infinity. This is the sign for this. When in multiple choice questions, if comes that the symbol or the elasticity of demand for perfectly elastic demand, then this is the right option for you in MCQs. Then perfectly inelastic demand. Okay, here there is tremendous effect of change in price. That means here the demand is fully responsive, is entirely responsive towards change in price, but here it is not at all responsive. It is fully responsive. That means demand increases to infinity or decreases to 0. But here there is no change in your quantity demanded, irrespective of tremendous change in price. That means what happens? Take for example, you can take the example of salt over here, because there is hardly any substitute of salt, and you may always remember the things which do not have substitutes are highly inelastic or maybe perfectly inelastic at many times. Maybe you may take an example of cancer. If someone has cancer and there are only 1 or 2 medicines, that means the prices for them can be increased to any extent. Though government does not allow this to happen, but still there can be monopoly of prices and people may charge any amount of price for that medicine. So here we will discuss the example of salt. Take for example, normally in India the price for salt is 20 rupees per pack. Okay, so here at this you may consume 2 packets of salt. This quantity is 2 packets. The Q1 is 2 packets over here, and the price is your P1 is your, sorry, here price P1 is your 20 rupees 20. Now we will join these points and it is here. Okay, so we will join these points like this, and here the demand for this is at point A. This is point A. Now take for example, if your price increases to rupees 200. But salt is something that is very essential to be included in our meals, in our everyday delicacies. So we can't reduce the amount of salt that we intake. So what happens over there? Again, even if the price increases to rupees 200, we will again consume only 2 packets of salt. We will neither increase the quantity of salt that is being consumed nor decrease the quantity of salt that has to be consumed in our daily intake. So what has happened over here? The irrespective of change in your price, that means price is increasing, and if the price decreases also, there is no change in quantity demanded for salt. That means it is price inelastic, or it is rigid, it is not responsive to price, it is not responding to change in price. So what is happening? It is at the same, it is fixed, it is rigid at 2 packets. Maybe some family, if it consumes 3 packets, that it is fixed for 3 packets only. You will not increase or decrease irrespective of the change in price. That means price is not impacting your demand. Okay, so in that case your demand for that commodity is perfectly inelastic. It is not changing, it is rigid. Okay, it is fixed, it is non-responsive. And this happens for the commodities which are essentials, which are habit forming, which are used for addictions like liquor, etc., which cannot be changed. That means people do not wish to change, or they cannot change. Maybe your medicines and these things like your liquors, cigars, cigarettes, medicines, salt, sugar, all these things can come under this category. Okay, so this is rigid and it is inelastic, it is fixed. Okay, it's not flexible. Then, no, these are 2 extremes we have discussed, and now here, what is the symbol used? Elasticity of demand over here is equal to 0. That means price does not have any impact on the quantity demanded of your commodity concerned. Okay, then comes your elastic or highly elastic demand. Okay, the third type of demand, elasticity of demand, is this. Now here, what happens? These are conspicuous luxuries, items, antiques, etc. So what will happen over here? Take for example your, I can say, yachts or your vintage cars. You can say vintage cars you will take. This is the right thing we can take. So vintage cars. So suppose price of any car may be $10,000, 10K dollars. Okay, these are American dollars I'm discussing. So here the price is this, and now what is happening at this price? The quantity demanded for vintage cars is in India is, suppose, make this erect. Okay, it is here like this. Okay, so it's 2 cars in 1 month. Okay, in certain state, maybe in Uttar Pradesh in India. Okay, what happens if its price decreases to $8,000? Sorry, $8,000. So this was P1. 10K was P1. Now price has reduced to P2. Now at P1, what was quantity? 2 cars. And at P2, if price reduces by only $2,000 and your demand increases to, suppose, 10 cars. So what is happening over here? There is higher increase in quantity demanded compared to decrease in quantity, decrease in change in price. So what is the percentage change in price? That is smaller than the percentage change in your quantity demanded for cars. The change is higher. The change in quantity demand is higher and the change in reduction in price is lower. So in that case, what will happen to this graph? It is a gentle graph over here like this. This is perfectly elastic. Compare these 2 graphs. This is perfectly elastic graph and this is elastic. What is happening over here? Graph is moving like this. Okay, it has shifted towards, it has moved downwards like this. Okay, like this. Okay, now I'm just comparing. Okay, now this is highly elastic. Highly elastic. So here the proportionate or percentage change in quantity demand is higher than the proportionate or say percentage change in your reduction in price or say change in price. Okay, then here unitary elastic. In unitary elastic, what happens? The proportionate change in quantity demanded is exactly equal to proportionate change in price. And this type of elasticity is also difficult to find because the percentage changes are different, maybe by minor amounts only. So here what happens, if initially the price is P1 over here and the quantity demanded is here, Q1 is this. Okay, maybe at this price it is suppose 10,000. At this 10,000 you are demanding only 1 cell phone. Okay, at rupees 10,000 you are demanding only 1 cell phone, and this is the point A over here. And now when price 2, if price falls to 5K, 5K rupees 5K here, Indian currency INR. Okay, at this P2, if price reduces to 5K, now you increase your quantity demanded to 2 cell phones. So what is happening? Here the percentage reduction, this is delta P. Percentage reduction in price is equal to percentage increase in your quantity demanded quantity. Okay, so here these 2 changes are same and this is known as unitary elastic demand. For some commodities our price elasticity is unitary, that means it's equal to 1. That means if there is 10% change in price, suppose, okay, and the similar is the change in your quantity, 10 cancel, and this 10 ones are 1 is the elasticity. So here the elasticity of demand is equal to 1, right? And maybe there may be 50% change, 50% change and 50% change, then again it's 1. 20 by 20 is again 1. That means the percentage change for quantity demanded is just equal to percentage in your price, and in that case your elasticity of demand is equal to 1. So elasticity of demand here is ED is equal to 1. Fine. And here it was ED, elasticity of demand is more than 1. It may be 1.2, it may be 1.3, it may be 2, it may be 3, it may be 5, anything like that. So elasticity of demand is more than 1 in your highly elastic demand. Your values, we will discuss the calculation of elasticity of demand in our next video. We are just discussing the diagrams over here in this video. Then we have highly inelastic demand. We have already discussed perfectly inelastic demand over here. That means there is no change at all in your quantity demanded due to any change in your percentage in your price. That means price demand is non-responsive, price does not have any impact. But here, and the similar case is here, but here there will be minor changes. Okay. And we can take certain example over here. We can take the example of milk, okay, or let's say the food items. Okay, say we can take the example of food items. See, if the price of food items, this is the price. We always take price on vertical axis and your quantity on horizontal axis. Say for example, initially the price was for certain commodity, the milk was 80 rupees per kg. So price was 80 rupees per kg here. Now at this price we were consuming 3 kgs of milk. Okay, we were consuming 3 kgs of milk at rupees 80. So this is the point over here. We'll join these points, intersecting points over here. So at rupees 80 we were consuming 3 kgs of milk. Okay, or 3 liters of milk you can say. Now if the price reduces to say 40 rupees per liter, 40 rupees per liter, but then also your consumption, per day consumption for milk for your family or individual household, for say Sharmaji's household or Mr. James or David's household, the consumption for milk only increases only by 1 liter. It becomes 4 liter. So what is the increase in quantity? It is only 1 liter. And the change in percentage change in this is quite significant here. Delta P is larger than your delta Q over here, change in your quantity demanded. So here percentage change in your quantity demanded is lesser than percentage change in your price. You can say this is larger, this is smaller. So what is happening over here? Your graph will be the steeper one. It is the inelastic one. So what is the graph for perfectly inelastic? This was the graph, and here it is nearly perfectly inelastic, or you can say it is highly inelastic. See, for food items you can increase or decrease their consumption to a very high amount irrespective of the change in price. Price may increase to a very significant amount, then also you will not decrease the amount that you want to consume for a particular commodity, and the price may reduce to a significant amount, then also you will not increase the amount that has to be purchased. So here the reduction in price may be significant, but the increase in quantity demand is not that significant. Like for essentials, say for example you are consuming 5 packets of cigarette per day, and price of cigarette drop down very drastically, very significantly, or to a great amount, then also you will not be consuming 8 to 10 packets of cigarette, because you always know that cigarettes are harmful for your health and they are burning your lungs and burning you from inside. You always know, but it's habit forming and you can give them up very easily. That's why you are smoking, but you always know that's harmful, that's hazardous for your health, and that's the reason you will not increase its consumption. That's not a very healthy thing to do that. And for milk also, you may consume 3 liters of milk per day, but you can't increase 10 kgs of milk per day. And milk is a type of commodity that will become spoiled, that will become sour the next day. You can't store it in very large quantities. Again with green tea, food items, Coca-Cola also, how much Coca-Cola you can consume per day? Okay, that is the thing, that their demand is not price responsive, and the demands which are not price responsive, which are rigid in their quantities, they can't be increased or decreased due to changes in price, are known as highly inelastic demands. And essentials, habit forming commodities, addictions or essentials, they are highly inelastic in demand. Okay, price elastic. Okay, now here we have 5 types of price elasticity. What are they? Repeat with me. Perfectly elastic demand, perfectly inelastic demand, highly elastic demand, highly inelastic, and unitary elastic. Okay, so here we have 5 types of elasticity. Here for perfectly elasticity, ED is equal to infinity. For perfectly inelastic, ED is equal to 0. For highly elastic, we have ED is greater than 1. For unit elastic, ED is equal to 1, and for highly inelastic, your ED is less than 1. It may be your 0.5, it can be 0.1, it may be 0.75, but it is always less than 1. It may be 0.999, but it's never 1, because 1 means unitary elastic. Okay, so that's how we have discussed all the price elasticity of demand. We meet in next video. There we will discuss all the different types of elasticity with the calculations. Thank you so much. Take care. God bless you.